there, my name is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel, and today you're watching me read 3 anticipated and popular thrillers. I haven't done a thriller reading vlog in quite a while, and I actually got one of my thrillers in. But the 3 thrillers that I plan on reading for this reading vlog are going to be The Hunting Wives, The Sanatorium, and Survive the Night by Marley. The book that I actually got in from the library that I'm very excited about, I think is the book I am most excited for, to be quite honest, is The Hunting Wives by Cobb. And Gabby Reed loved this. She gave this I think it was 5 stars. I know most other people I've watched have given this 4 or 5 stars and really enjoyed it. I haven't heard anything bad about this particular thriller, and I'm obsessed with the cover. Obsessed. It's so pretty. So in The Hunting Wives, we're following Sophie, and Sophie actually used to live in this small town back when she was a teenager, and now that she's an adult, she's moved back to it with her husband and her child, and she is obsessed with this woman named Margot, and Margot is kind of the queen bee of this small town, rich, popular, perfect, and she's kind of obsessed with her. And obviously, I'm assuming that Margot dies because I just read the first page, and I'm assuming it's Margot that dies. And we're trying to figure out what happened leading up to Margot dying. But the whole part of The Hunting Wives is the fact that I think it's every Friday night or something, they go out and go hunting and they go shooting. But I think another part of it is they actually go hunting, man hunting, because they're bored with their husbands. And that's all I really know about this book. I don't know much else. It's not super long. It's 350 pages, I believe. So I'm hoping I can actually get done with this in 2 days, because I'm actually starting this reading vlog on a Saturday, which I usually never do because I just don't read as much on the weekends. But I had a couple of different books I wanted to read I got from the library, so I actually read the first chapter of all of them to see which one I would rather want to read, and this was the winner. It was the most pulling in, it was so interesting, it was so captivating from the very first page, because we obviously know somebody died. It just seems really interesting. So I'm really hoping this one is a good one, at least a good, maybe 4 star. I feel thrillers for me, I just don't usually rate very highly just because I find them kind of predictable or just not deep enough for me. So I'm gonna go get my day started. I have to go shopping and get my coffee and all that good stuff that I usually do on my Saturday mornings. So that is the plan. And hopefully I can finish this by Sunday night. So I'm being brave again and wearing my crop top, which again, I feel it's just a little too see-through for my taste. And there's also this weird crease down the front. Don't like that. We're gonna go shopping at Trader Joe's and get some coffee. It is the next day, and I got to page 170, and I'm pretty impressed with myself. I would love to finish this today, but I just don't know. It's kind of slowing down a little bit, in my opinion. I think it's ramping up, but also slowing down in my interest. I think we're in the same spaces for too long, a little bit, in my opinion. So basically, we're following Sophie, and she's obsessed with Margot, and Margot's having an illicit sexual relationship with someone she's not supposed to, and Sophie knows about it. But I mean, so far it's interesting for sure, but now it's repeating itself a lot. They have the same Friday night things, they go out, they do this, blah blah blah. It's just kind of getting a little bit repetitive, so I'm hoping it breaks it up in just a minute, and hopefully it'll get really good again, because it's not bad or anything, but it's definitely it just feels a little repetitive. I'm not gonna pressure myself since this is Sunday, and I want to kind of enjoy my day a little bit and do a little less editing, and maybe play some Sims. I haven't played my Sims in a really long time. It's been quite a while. Life just gets so busy, and I really want to kind of relax a little bit before I have to go back to work tomorrow. So I'll keep you abreast of the situation, but hopefully I can finish this by tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow, after work at least, I could do that. I don't think that could be a problem. So this morning, we are going to go pick up some brunch from one of our favorite places and get some of our little Dutch babies. If you don't know what they are, please go look them up. They're delicious. And then also last night we watched Fear Street 1994, and it was actually really good. I liked it. It was different. There was definitely a death in there that had me shook. And we're planning on watching the 1978 version tonight, so that should be interesting. Some parts are really good, and then other parts were way too rushed, and I was just confused because we don't really know these characters. It's our first introduction to them. I was like, okay. But I'm actually really excited for part 2, 1978. And that's what we have on the docket for today. So I finished Hunting Wives on my break earlier this morning, and I actually really enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna give it like 4.25 stars. I was pleasantly surprised with this, and there were definitely a couple things about this I did not like, but I know in my last clip I was talking about how slow it was being, and it wasn't being really slow. I just felt a little bit repetitive, but it took off right after that, and it did not slow down till the end. And that's also one of my complaints, is I kind of wish the ending was a little more slow. It was way too quick once you find out who the murderer was, and I wanted to savor it a little bit. I actually really enjoyed this. I'm not gonna lie, this was a wonderful thriller. I think this is probably my favorite thriller of the year so far. It's probably the best one, because I feel like this is one that's gonna stick with me. I don't know. We'll see how that works out, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a ride of a time. I didn't like a lot of things that went on inside of it, but I don't think you're supposed to like the things that happen in there, like the underage drinking and sex with minors. So, I mean, technically it was like illegal, but like, that's gross, bro. There's also an incredible amount of alcohol use in here, so just be warned. It is, it's like worse than like a frat party. It is crazy. I mean, overall, this honestly reads like an older Mean Girls retelling where someone gets murdered in a suburban Texas town. Period. And those are my final thoughts. I actually really enjoyed this. I would 100% recommend it. I think it's probably my best thriller out of the three that I have chosen. I just feel like this is the one that like resonates with me the most and like seemed the most interesting, and also seems to have the best reviews from actual reviewers as well as like people I actually trust to review books. So next up in this adventure is going to be the Sanatorium, which I'm getting from my library I think in the next couple of days. I don't know if it's gonna be ready yet, but it's in transit. So that's what's next on the docket for this video. And I hope the Sanatorium is good, but I'm also kind of expecting not to like it, because a lot of people said they freaking hated it. Like One by One by Ruth Ware hated it, which I also gave 1 star. So I'm not expecting anything great from the next 2 thrillers, but at least they'll hopefully be easy to read, which thrillers usually are. So that is my hope for these 2, and I'll be picking that up very shortly. I finally picked up The Sanatorium, and this book is about Ellen Warner, and she is a detective who has been off work for quite a while now, following some interesting cases and like the death of her mother and stuff, and the death and her near death really with the case, and it kind of reminded her of her brother's death as a child. And so now it's just, she's kind of just has a lot of PTSD and a lot of issues, and she's really struggling in life in general. And her other brother, who is alive, he is having an engagement party at this like beautiful ex-sanatorium, which is now like a modern minimalist hotel. Her and her brother like don't really get along, and they have just a lot of issues, and I think she's blaming her brother for the death of her other brother, Sam, which I think is a very interesting concept, and I'm curious to see how that's gonna play out. And while she is there at the new beautiful hotel, people go missing, and then I think along the way they're gonna find people that are murdered. Currently, no one has been blatantly murdered that I have seen. 118 pages in. It's definitely a little bit frustrating because most thrillers are only like 300 pages anyway, and this one's almost a full 400 pages, and by page 118 I feel like nothing's really happened except for her brother's fiance has gone missing, and his fiance works at the hotel, so it's kind of weird that she would arrange her own engagement party and then go missing. So they're trying to find her and see what's going on, but honestly I'm kind of like just not feeling it. I can see why people don't really like this book. I just feel like it has short chapters and everything, like it has like the makings of things I like, but I just feel like the writing is kind of slow, and you don't like our narrator, and she's like obviously like an ex-detective slash, you know, just kind of like an on a break detective. But like, I feel like she's like the most unobservant, like dumbass of a detective, and I just feel like she gives so many things away. Like, I don't know, I think she's honestly just like terrible at what she does. But anyway, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it further, but I'm gonna try to read some of this tonight. I'd like to finish this within like 2 days. And then tonight we're doing that like viral TikTok pasta, like the feta and the tomatoes. We've done it before and I really liked it. It seemed like a really nice, easy meal that we haven't had in like months. Okay friends, so I ended up DNFing the Sanatorium, which I was not expecting to do. I really thought I was at least gonna be able to finish it, but this book was just not for me, and I don't think it's for a lot of people. I think it is very not great. There are a lot of things about this novel that I did not like that obviously led to me DNFing it, but a big part of it was I was getting terrible anxiety reading this novel, and not because the novel was anxiety inducing, but because I was forcing myself to read this book that I really did not want to read. So naturally, when I DNF a book, I spoil the whole book for myself. I go read through all the plots, I watch every video that I can find about someone's book review on it, and number one, a lot of people agree with me. All the points that I had issues with, people agree with as well. One of my biggest gripes is that this takes place in like such a beautiful setting. Like you could really use it to your advantage. And there's like literally no atmosphere in this book. And also the top here, a lot of people are really mad that AJ Finn said it was like a gothic thriller. It is not a gothic thriller, and it is not gothic, and it is not thrillery. Like whatsoever. Reese, honey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Pick better books, sweetie. 2, one of the biggest things is Ellen is supposed to be a detective in this novel, or like, she's not an ex-detective, she's a detective on a leave. She's on mental leave, basically. She needed a break after a really tough case that almost ended up killing her in the same way that her brother was killed, and so it just really traumatized her and brought up a lot of PTSD, okay? I get it. She is dead ass the worst fucking detective I've ever read in my life. And I'm not the only person who said that. I'm gonna link a bunch of people down below from book reviews that I watched, and they all said the same thing. And I first thought it was just me. I was like, am I just being really picky about my thrillers? And it's also because I have law enforcement in my family, and like, I just know that that's not how they would react, maybe. But when other people also said the same thing, I knew I was not crazy. The detectiveness in this is just complete and pure trash. You do not talk to potential suspects and then tell them all of your leads. Girl, The first like big murder I would say that they found, there's a girl lying face down in the pool with like a gas mask and she has fingers missing. And the thing that Ellen thought like alluded to a murder was when she finally noticed the fucking sandbag at the bottom of the pool. Like that's what tipped you off, bro? That was it? It wasn't like missing fingers that obviously someone is not gonna do before they kill themselves. What? Also, this book just was really repetitive. Like she would repeat something that she figured out like last chapter, and I just feel like it was almost the exact same paragraph. When I went back and looked and compared, it was dead ass almost the exact same paragraph. Why was that necessary? There was so much of this in this book. Number one, it was just way too long. And I DNF'd it at 50%, just so we're clear. But it was still way too long. Like I literally DNF'd it like right after someone was murdered. I was like, this is not going anywhere. This is terrible. This is like the most slow burn mystery disguised as like a fast-paced gothic thriller in my life. Like this is the complete, like this book is a lie, like straight up lie. And the killer, when I found out who the killer was, I was like, and the reasoning, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I just feel like this book is just a miss, man. It's a miss. It's a miss for me. I think it's a miss for a lot of people. I would definitely go check out some of the other reviews because I think they probably are more coherent than I am, because I'm honestly just so fucking pissed that I even like picked this book up, because I honestly was kind of excited for it. Like I knew a lot of people didn't like it, but I actually went in with really low expectations. Like I was really hoping to actually enjoy this like a little bit, because like this cover is fucking stunning. Like you find out more about the history of the sanatorium and stuff too, but it was like not enough to like save this book, and like it should have just been brought up differently. I just feel like this whole book, if written by somebody else, would have just been really good, but like this just did not. Sorry for that rant. I just, But anyway, next up is Survive the Night by Marley Sager, and I'm hoping this is good. I hope I can at least finish it, because I know a lot of people hated this book, and I have a feeling I'm not gonna like it as well. And I went into this book without expectations, and the fact that this one was a DNF, like this is my first DNF of 2021. Like I don't want a second DNF of 2021 in the same video, so I hope I can at least read Marley Sager. I don't know. I'm low-key worried. I finally got Survive the Night by Marley Sager from my library, and I'm already 152 pages into it. I actually started this last night, and I just kind of wanted to at least get like 70 pages into it, and I just feel like I've been reading books pretty slow. And the thing about Marley Sager's writing is, even if I'm not enjoying myself completely, it's always a fast read. But Survive the Night, I'm not sure what the rating is going to be as of yet. I know a lot of people don't like this book at all of his, and it has really low ratings compared to all of his other books. And when you look on Goodreads, it's just like 1 star, 2 star, 1 star, 2 star. And I can kind of see why. So that's we're following Charlie. This is the early 1990s. She's at college. Her college roommate was murdered 2 months ago, and she's decided to drop out of college and go back home and live with her grandma. And she doesn't really plan on coming back. You know, it's been pretty traumatic with her friend dying, and now she's being diagnosed with hallucinations. So this is obviously a little bit of like a mental illness rep in here. I'm not really sure if it's well done because I don't have hallucinations, but basically she stopped taking her medicine, and now she's hallucinating, and she gets in the car with a stranger who she thinks she finds out to be the campus killer, who's the one who actually killed her friend. And we're kind of leading into the fact that that's potentially true, and that her hallucinations are making her like an unreliable narrator, but potentially it's correct and he is the campus killer. So 150 pages in, it's not really big on the suspense. I felt a little more suspense at the beginning when she basically kind of finds out this guy isn't who he says he is. She found the wrong license. It doesn't have his name on it. And, you know, we kind of find out some of those things at this point that are true and that aren't true. So I'm not really sure how it's gonna end as of yet. I can see why people don't like it because it's very repetitive. They're literally just stuck in a car the whole time and it's not really like titillating. And it definitely just feels like an overdone dream sequence where like you just kind of don't know if what you're experiencing is real over and over and over. And I don't know how I feel about that yet. I was really enjoying the writing, I think up until like 120, 30 pages. And now I'm just getting a little bit annoyed, even though maybe this is supposed to be picking up in just a second. I just feel like we've already been in the car for so long. I just kind of was hoping something else would happen. And not to mention, she is, honest to God, the dumbest bitch I've ever met. If you're already really paranoid and you're having hallucinations and you're not taking your fucking medicine, why would you get in the car with a stranger who you don't know 2 months after your best friend was murdered, and you didn't check the guy's license plate? I would have asked to see his license beforehand. If I don't know you and I'm getting a ride from you and this is the place of no cell phones, and I would have got out of the car and I would have called my boyfriend at the middle point or whatever. Also, why couldn't she have just waited the few days till her boyfriend could take her on the weekend? Again, it's one of those things that just bothers me, where it didn't have to happen that way. It wasn't like something prevented it from happening. She just made a stupid choice, right? Did you really need to get home to Nana that much faster? I don't think so. Risking your life? I don't think so. So I'm a little frustrated. We're gonna see how I feel. I actually would like to hope to finish this today. I started it last night. I would love to finish it today before I go back to the library because I have to go return some other books, but it's always nice to finish a book and then return basically everything you have read to the library, because otherwise I'll be going to return this next week, and I always like returning things early if I can to other people as well. Let's see if I can finish this in basically 24 hours. It's actually been a couple of days since I last talked to you because I think I needed some time to digest Survive the Night. And I have like severe mixed feelings about this book, but it still didn't get a great rating from me. I think this was a really great premise for like an anxiety-inducing wild ride of a book, but it just did not deliver. The first half to 3/4 of the novel is very repetitive and can be a little bit boring, and then I just kind of got done with it. And in the end, it's kind of like a wild ride that doesn't really make any sense. And it's very melodramatic. I mean, I'll give it, it's very entertaining. This was an entertaining read. And it wasn't his worst, but it wasn't his best. The worst for me is probably Final Girls, which gets a 1.5 out of me. I think this one's gonna come in at a whopping 1.75. It's gonna get rounded up to 2 stars. It was an entertaining read, but like, honestly, Charlie is dead ass one of the worst characters I have ever read. Like, she's honestly the dumbest bitch. It doesn't matter if it was in the 90s. She's dumb as fucking rocks. You're gonna tell me that a woman whose best friend was just fucking murdered 2 months ago is going to willingly get into a car with a man she doesn't know who's already giving her fucking red flags? I don't think so. What world are you living in? Don't know a single woman who would do this. Not one. Never met her. Anyway, I also did not need the extra POV chapters. It kind of ruined the end. Like, I already know what was gonna happen because we got POV from the people. Didn't need that. Could have just been from her terrible perspective, okay? And also, if I ever hear the fucking phrase movies in my mind again, I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna drive my car to the nearest fucking desert bluff and I'm gonna lose it. Also, there is literally zero motive for the killer, like the killer / antagonist. Zero motivation for anyone in this fucking story. Not one person has a good motivation, okay? Not one. Not one. And contrary to popular opinion, the epilogue, honest to God, made the book fucking worse. It really pissed me off. Why does every fucking author have to be so goddamn fucking meta? You don't need to be meta all the time, and the cinema trope was already so overdone in this fucking book. I didn't need that. And you know what? It actually went down a little bit for me because of the ending. Sorry to say. In all fairness, this was still a really quick read and very entertaining, and you know what? It wasn't the worst book of this fucking reading vlog, which is a surprise. So let's go in order of rating. The best book I read, obviously, was The Hunting Wives. God bless this book. It was wonderful. It's one of those books I would definitely recommend. I still haven't forgotten it. I remember everything about it. It was great. I had a great time. The next one is gonna be Survive the Night at a whopping 2 stars, and it wasn't the worst book of his for sure, but it definitely wasn't his best. But he does have a new book coming out called like The House Across the Lake next year, so will I read it? Yeah. Well, it could be good. I don't know. And the last book was the DNF, which was the Sanatorium, which is still like one of the worst books I think I've ever read. I couldn't even finish it. I don't remember a fucking thing about this book because it's been a few weeks, maybe a month. I don't even remember when I last read it. All I remember is the woman in this was the fucking worst detective I have ever read in my life. And this book was just trying to do too much. I remember it had like so many fucking tropes and so many things going on. There was too many people in the hotel. It just did not work. The book did not work, and apparently it's part of a fucking series, which also is so dumb for thrillers. Like most thrillers, they should not be a series, sweetie. She is not that good of a detective where she needs a series. Trust me. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this dumpster fire, and please let me know if there's any good thrillers I need to be reading, because thrillers are one of my more favorite genres I kind of forget about, and they're always a quick, fun read, except for you, the Sanatorium, and yeah, I'm always ready to read some more. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!